Welcome to the Rundown. My name is Ryan.
My name is Ray.
We're deep in this finals. We're deep in this NBA conference finals. And I got to tell you, couldn't care less about the Knicks and
Now,
the
is that
Cavs.
because you have been thus far proven wrong, or like what's going on there?
To be fair, I believe it was I think it was the last episode where I did think that if they maintained consistency, they could take the East. And that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised. First off, I'm surprised the Cavs are here. I think that's the bigger surprise.
That's fair.
But
after two Game 7s that were a little dicey, that's fair.
But then also for 2 Game 7s to this, what are we even watching? Just feels
it's been a letdown. Listen, but
yeah.
I said for a long time that I thought the Detroit Pistons were a way harder matchup for the Knicks. And if you look at the Detroit Pistons teams, it seems like they built their roster to beat the Knicks, because the Knicks were the team that ousted them last year. It looks like they came back and revamped their roster with the intent on seeing the Knicks again in the playoffs, but they didn't handle their business. First of all, they went to 7 games against the Magic, which I don't think they were supposed to do. So that was alarm. That was an alarm for me right there. Immediately.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Immediate red flag.
Immediate. And then but I still thought they had enough to beat the Cavs. But, credit to the Cavs. They came through and they closed it out in a Game 7 after losing terribly. Game 6 at home. They were able to go Game 7 on the road in Detroit and win. So, this had the makings of actually being a competitive series against the Knicks. I didn't expect the Cavs to win this series. I did not. I expected the Knicks to win in 6 games because Donovan Mitchell is that good.
I think they're going to do it in 4.
Yeah, I think the Game 1 loss, Ryan, Mitchell said it best. I was looking at a presser that he did after the game last night, and they said, what have you kind of learned? You guys are down 3-0 at this point, and obviously it's not over yet, but what do you, what have you got from the series so far? And he was straight up. He said, you don't lose a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter of Game 1. That sets the tone right there.
Yep.
And they have not bounced back from that demoralizing loss in Game 1 at all.
Not even Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift could save you in that crowd. It was a non-starter. And listen, I almost got kicked out of a group chat yesterday because of my hatred of the Knicks. I did. I've gone silent today. I'm giving people some space.
Listen, if the Knicks fans, no one can do wrong right now when it comes to Knicks fans. Cause honestly, listen, I said this a few episodes ago. If and when the Knicks make the finals, New York City may very well burn down. It may burn down to the ground because Knicks fans cannot handle what this is going to mean. Yes. No, honestly, the city's going to be on fire.
Listen, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Will I apologize
and
for
me
my
too.
hate? Absolutely not. But I will admit,
because the hate will continue through the finals. You better believe
the hate's never stopping. But if only it's getting stronger. But what I will say is that, they've played exceptionally well. Mikal Bridges.
He's been lights out.
He's been on fire.
And
you're right. I think they've won, 9 straight playoff games?
Yeah, so they got down in that series to Atlanta, I think 2-1, and I don't think they've lost. They haven't lost since. So no, kudos to them.
It's impressive.
It has been impressive, but let's be real. It's the East.
I fucking hate them, but impressive nonetheless.
It's the East though. Okay, you beat the Hawks, and I know Knicks fans are gonna come out there and say, "Oh, you hating? You just got to beat the team that's in front of you." I mean, that's fair, but there were some years that Steph got lucky in the playoffs, and there were injuries from the team playing across from him, and people held that against him. So you know what, Knicks fans, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. You beat the Hawks to get here. You're probably going to sweep the Cavs, and you beat a Philly team who was not 100% healthy and went 7 games against a Celtics team that realistically, I don't think they should have beat them. So
no,
count your blessings
bombed.
that you did not run into the Celtics.
Problem.
You didn't run into the Pistons either because the Cavaliers took care of them. So you enjoy it. You made the Eastern Conference Finals. You're about to make your first finals since 1999, and hopefully play the team that you lost to in 99 in the Spurs. Well, we'll get to that series against OKC in a little bit, but there's only so much hate I can do right now for the Knicks, so we'll let them enjoy this success while they can.
I mean, listen, I can hate all I want, but that doesn't change the fact that they're playing exceptional ball. Everyone's playing really well. The bench is playing well. The starters are playing well. This is turning out to be a very well-rounded team.
It is.
And
It is. And I think
I'm
that's what's
impressed.
I'm actually surprised by that, because how many times have we got on this pod and we talked about exactly what Karl
So
Anthony
many.
Towns needs to do for this team to be
Yeah.
successful. But think about it, Ryan, like what have you like seen him really like do this series? He hasn't had a huge impact on this series. If I'm being
He
honest,
hasn't,
I think
but
he had a double in the first two games. And like last game, I think he only maybe had like 13 points, something like that. But he like, but it's weird because one of the games he had like one of the largest plus minuses on the team, but his numbers didn't jump out at you. His stats didn't jump out off the page at the end of the game. But he's like silently just had himself a really solid series. He hasn't been like the Robin that I thought he would have to be to Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson has done what we have seen Jalen Brunson do for this Knicks team the last several playoff runs. So I'm not surprised by his success there. But I think just the contributions by like everybody on that team, the Knicks are proving that they actually have a fairly deep team. And we'll see how that carries over to the finals. How do you what are you thinking? How do you think that's going to look versus either of these teams, be it OKC or San Antonio?
I think it's not going to be as easy. Number one, I think that everyone's going to have to play very well for them to move past either team in the West. Because honestly, the West is just, that series is crazy.
I mean,
and
like before that series started, people said that was the finals, and I'm talking about the OKC and San Antonio series here. Like people were like, this is the finals, and I've been excited for this matchup all season since we initially kind of started to see what this Spurs team was looking like as the season progressed, and they kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack, and we looked at them and we looked at OKC and we said, okay, like outside of Denver, these are the best two teams in the West. Like pretty easily, we were able to determine that. And so I looked forward to this matchup, and I was hoping that we'd get these two teams here in the Western Conference Finals, and we got it. And Ryan, that game one was one of the best playoff games that I've seen
that was insane.
ever. Yeah. Double overtime. Wemby goes for 41 and 24. Like just the spectacle behind that game and the show that Wembanyama put on, putting that Spurs team on his back. That was just one of the best performances that I've seen as an NBA fan, probably in my entire life, all bias aside.
I think that is an excellent series. I think whoever comes out of that series, I mean, the one thing that the Knicks have going for them is if you sweep in 4, you get a lot of good rest time, which
and they realize that in sweeping
in Philly.
In Philly, yeah, thank you. But sweeping Philly, they got rid of him so quick. I forgot who they played already. But they had 9 days of rest after that, and I think that showed, right? So like imagine if the Knicks had ended up losing that game one, right? The score stays a 20-point blowout throughout. The narrative at the end of that game would have been the Knicks were too well rested. They were rusty. They had too much time off. You know what I mean? But winning cures everything. Because after that, now they look like that same trailblazing team that completely packed up the Sixers in 4, and they have not taken a breath after that fourth quarter comeback. So yeah.
I think the rest is helping them. I mean, I'm a person, you know, whenever we watch football playoffs, I don't like the bye. I think it takes teams out of rhythm. I mean, I understand why people like it, but I'm not a huge, well, it's never really served the Packers that well, if I'm being honest. That's what I'm judging it on, is my team has never done exceptionally well after that. But I think in the case of the Knicks, like, I think it's really provided them an opportunity to get ready and get focused. And I think whoever comes out of the West, I mean, I think they're going to be tired. That I don't know how much that's going to weigh on them when they hit the finals, but that series in itself is it's exhausting to watch.
It is. How physical is that series?
Oh my God.
How physical is that series? Like
so intense.
And you can kind of tell that these two teams are growing like a dislike for each other too, which I love. Because both these teams are young, and I could see them meeting up in several playoff series for years to come. So I love what's developing right before our eyes. And I think like Wemby, this is his first playoff experience,
Mhm.
but he needs this, right? Like he needs
Mhm.
to see like what the physicality is like this time of year. And I think he's going to take this into the offseason. And let's be real. He hasn't exactly struggled. Like he's holding his own fairly well against an OKC team who had, we can say now, a year removed. They've been here before,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But Wemby has done a great job of like staying composed outside of, you know, him elbowing a player in the face last
You're
round. He kind of wound
7'5".
out.
What are
Yeah.
we gonna do? You're
Yeah.
7'5".
But I could see him just taking the physicality of this series
Mhm.
and taking that into the offseason and really putting in work and putting on more body weight, more muscle. And if he does that, if he
Yeah.
becomes like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, like kind of like build, because remember, like at one point, Giannis was a skinny guy. He wasn't always the freight train that we see in front of us
Mhm.
today. He used to be a fairly skinny guy. So when we could put on some weight, and if we see what he's doing now already,
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
guy, face of the league.
He's playing like a veteran. I'm very impressed. I feel like he's very
Extremely.
composed, very in control. You know, that 3-pointer in that first game was just,
From
first
the
off,
logo. From the
I
logo.
never expect a 7'5" guy to make a 3-pointer. I'll just say
Nah.
that right now. That defied
This
all
is 2026
expectations
NBA. Yeah,
that
that's
I've
what it is
seen.
now.
But I'm very impressed. I think that, first off, I just want to say that I don't think the Knicks will have an answer for Wemby. I think
No,
the
no
Knicks
one
are
does.
much more well suited to play OKC than I
I'll
think
agree
they
with
are the
that.
Spurs.
But you know what's funny is they beat the Spurs. I want to say they're 2-0 against the Spurs this year, right?
That's
So,
crazy.
which is crazy to me. So if they go into like the finals and the Spurs end up being their opponent, that don't expect the Knicks to be scared. Like they've seen this
No,
team,
I don't think they
and
will. Yeah.
yeah, they won't have an answer for Wemby, but they get the contributions from the right players. I don't know. It's getting dicey.
I think
It's
it's
coming to the
tough.
point
It's
anymore.
very tough.
It's coming to the point
Yeah.
now where the Knicks are playing so well that before we just kind of automatically crown the team in the West the champions. It's not that easy. Not right
It's
now. As
looking
we
a
sit
little more
here with the
questionable.
Knicks being up 3-0, it's looking very questionable as to whether we can just summarily dismiss them losing the
Well,
finals.
I mean, I'm going to say that it's looking questionable, but I'm
Mhm.
also going to say they're playing the Cavs.
Yes,
This
and
is
that's
not,
what helped me
I
rein it
think
back in. You're right. You're absolutely right.
they're
They are,
playing the
and this
Cavs.
is all due respect to the
Yeah.
Cavs, but the
Yeah.
Cavs are not. Actually, I had to say this. You know, one of
Yeah.
my favorite places on the planet is the Instagram comment section, right? So it was a video, I believe it was about Anthony Edwards. He was congratulating the Spurs with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter of that closeout game, right? And so there's a big
Yeah.
controversy. It was like, you know, why don't you wait until the end of the game to congratulate the
Mhm.
other team? But he actually came out. There was audio released to him, and he's like, you know, by the end of the game, I'm pissed off. So at that point, I'm not trying to shake
There's
anybody's
there's
hand.
no congratulating
Y'all
anymore.
over there celebrating.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to laugh it up with y'all,
Yeah.
right? Which I get. But somebody commented in the comment section and they were like, well, this is like the big difference right here between the coaches. Like the Timberwolves gave up. Meanwhile, the Knicks came
Mhm.
back from a 20-point deficit in the fourth quarter and they won that game. So what I said, but listen, I said straight up, the Cavs ain't the Spurs. Okay. The
They're
Cavs ain't
not.
the Spurs. It's two different
No.
breeds. Like, and
Mhm.
the Wolves pulled all their starters from that game. The Knicks never took their starters out in that fourth quarter,
Yeah.
which is one of the
Yeah.
biggest reasons they came back. But it's two different animals. Okay.
Which
All due
was
respect to the
risky, though.
Cavs. They're not the same team as
Yeah.
the Spurs. Not the
No.
same. And it was risky. Yeah. But it paid
I
off.
mean, I think everybody's reaction to this will be, but they're not playing the Celtics and the Celtics blew it, and they're not playing the Pistons and the Pistons blew it. And
Absolutely.
that's true. And listen, I don't know what a Celtics Knicks series would have looked like. I think
Nor
it would
do
have been
I.
more competitive, but I don't know. If the Knicks are playing the way the Knicks are playing now, Celtics definitely aren't a shoo-in to win that series
That's correct.
for sure.
Yep.
They would be clawing their way to do so,
Mhm.
as we don't have a big man, and that is like, you know, there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that I think the Celtics still have to work on to get correct. But
Definitely cost them in that Philly series.
you
Yeah,
know,
you're right.
for sure. But I will say, you know, listen, you have to give credit where credit is due. The Knicks are playing exceptionally well. The other part of that statement is the Knicks are also playing the Cavs. Like those are both of those
Both
statements can be true. The Knicks can be playing exceptionally well, and they can also be playing a team that I'm pretty sure shouldn't be there.
And don't let Cavs fans tell you that, and don't let Donovan Mitchell hear that, because they feel like they belong here, and they did beat the teams to get there.
What are they going to do?
Listen, I'm just saying, maybe we'll give them some extra motivation to actually make this a series. So yeah, keep going.
Maybe. I mean, listen, all I want to see is good competitive basketball, and I think that's what's most disappointing in the Eastern Conference Finals is that, like, if you're a Knicks fan, you're stoked because it's like,
you don't want a close series.
We're just mowing through this. Yeah, we don't want anything. It's great. But, you know, as a basketball fan, you're like, can you give me something? This is so boring.
Mm-hmm. And that first game,
so utterly boring.
So it's like, here's how the timeline happened. So like the Spurs played their game one, right? Fantastic game one, went to double OT where everyone's like, this is exactly what we expected, right? There's no way that the Eastern Conference can live up to this hype. Boom. The very next day, Knicks are down 20 in the fourth quarter. I'm like, this is exactly what I expected. The Spurs series is way better. This is boring. Boom. Knicks come back. Thrilling comeback, right? Game goes to OT. Knicks end up pulling off the comeback. I said, wait, hold on now. Hold on. The Knicks heard the chatter about how this was going to be a boring series. They decided to make it interesting. But let's be real. The next two games after that, I mean, they haven't been blowouts, but they haven't exactly been close with 2 minutes left in the game. It hasn't been exciting. Either. So no, it's been a little lackluster.
It's become so uninteresting to me that I'm now commenting in the group chat on players' looks. And it has nothing, I'm like, skill is not even present. It's just me going, that person looks unfortunate. Like, what are we doing here with this? So, I mean, I'm not really saying that I want the Cavs to like make it more exciting because I really just kind of think this is done. But
agreed, yeah. We all know no team has ever come back 3-0.
The finals has got to be better than this.
And like, I think it will be.
When we get to the finals, please.
And I think it will be.
Let's make it more competitive.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. Did you see, just a quick side note, that tickets released today, which I think is hilarious because the series is not even over yet. But Madison Square Garden has already started releasing ticket prices for a potential finals game 3, since the Knicks will be on the road to start that series.
Who's affording that?
Listen, 500 and it was a little bit less than $600,000 for courtside seats. $500,000.
That's
courtside at a Knicks final game.
This
is where we're really going to start weeding out which celebrities are real Knicks fans. Because I'm going to start looking at the sideline like, I don't see the other people I normally see.
I don't know if you can afford that. That's just like, you're seeing them now. And
somebody's missing from this game that is normally here. Where they at?
That's right. Well, listen, I fully expected those prices. Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet will be courtside the entire time.
They will.
Kylie's got the cash. She'll be, I think, treating for that.
Sure. Listen, Dune did numbers too. Dune did numbers.
He don't have Kardashian Jenner money. What are you getting over there? He ain't got that money. So listen, I'm hoping for a competitive finals. I do think. I think the Spurs are going to come back and show us some magic. I really do. It's been a rough. Those games are physical games.
They are.
They're calling a lot of calls against the Spurs that I don't think they should be calling, but this is where we're at. And
what do you think of the narrative behind SGA and the foul baiting right now and the flopping? Is it because it's really is everywhere I look at the moment? I can't get away from it. This is
2026 NBA. I think this is where we at in the league. I think foul baiting, but he's not the only one who does it. Jalen Brunson can do it from time to time as well. I'm not impressed with that kind of play.
We can go down a list of players if we're being honest.
I mean, it's very common and it's too common. And I think like it just gets in the way of flow of the game. I think that it isn't an accurate representation of, how do I want to phrase this? To me, when you do something like that, when you foul bait, when you flop, when you do things, to me, I feel your skill level go down. To me, you automatically become a lesser player because that's what you have to do. That's what you're relying on.
It's hard to say, right? Like
it's hard to say, but
because
it's not
I've seen him in these moments where he doesn't need to foul bait, where he just can completely take a game over, and that mid range is pure. I've seen him pull up from 3. I've seen him just completely dominate games where free throws weren't the case, but it's such a huge part of his game. And now, especially with the success that OKC has had the last 2 years, being on the national stage so much, the scrutiny is just higher than ever than it is right now. And he specifically now, especially now that he won his second MVP and he's going up directly against somebody who finished in the top 3 of the MVP. Now his game is getting dissected and is under a microscope even more because people don't want to see these teams be successful over a certain amount of time. What's funny to me is the way that people are rooting right now for the Spurs to usurp the Thunder, and in this reign of terror that the Thunder, people apparently think that the Thunder are on because they won one championship. Like this hate is going to come to Wembanyama at some point. The second the Spurs become successful for more than a season and they look like they have a team that is going to dominate for a few years to come, this hate is instantly going to turn to Wemby. So I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment and hate on SGA because like teams, this happened to Steph, happens to Bron, happens to KD, like it's going to happen when you are
Bron
that
is like
guy.
King of flops.
Oh,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I love LeBron, but I just feel like if you're a 2-time MVP, what are you doing? Your game should be strong enough that this isn't something you have to do. And
I agree. It's got to be a lot.
A couple of, sly moves here and there. It is what it is. It's the game. But like, dude, come on. Like, you're a 2-time MVP. You don't have to do this. Just play your game. There's a reason you're a 2-time MVP, and it's not because you're king of the flops or king of the foul baiting. Like, you can play well all on your own without any of that. So show us why you are the MVP and take over a game and finish it, and don't do any of this stupid bullshit that is now the conversation. So like, especially now, it's not about you guys winning, it's about how you're winning. What are you what tricks you're pulling to be able to get there. And that's not what anybody wants dissected when they're playing at this high of a level. You want your skill level to be looked at, not this. So, agreed. I mean, and to Wemby, what I would just say is, bro, you're 7'5". They're just going to call everything. I don't know what to say. Like, yeah, you're going to hit people in the face. They only come up to your elbow. Like, I'm not saying that he needs a pass, but I'm saying, like, I feel like we should find some kind of, like, weird middle ground for him where it's like, if you get in the way, it's going to be a problem.
Listen, tonight's game 4. The Spurs enter tonight down 2-1. This is obviously a must-win game for them. I don't think they can afford to lose this and then go back to OKC for a game 5. What I will say, Wemby, last game, you had 4 rebounds. 4. Oof. You're 7'5".
You should have every rebound.
Yes. You got to do more than 4. The Spurs are not going to win this series with you getting 4 rebounds.
No.
So we'll see what they do tonight. Game 4 at home for San Antonio, and should be another great game.
Yep. I do like, though, how they do. This is the first time I've seen this. I'm sure they've done it before. I just haven't been paying attention on NBC, where the opposing team, they'll do like the little like cards, and the person will say, their name and then where they went to school. And I love, just like they do on Sunday Night Football, but I love how Wembanyama's like, Victor Wembanyama, France. There's like no school.
No school. You skipped that.
Just France.
France.
But yeah, so it should be interesting to see where all of that goes. I just hope it's competitive. That's it. That's the only thing I'm asking for, is good series basketball. Because I don't really have, I'm picking the Spurs to win the whole thing. And I've said that since we first started talking about this. Yep. I really do believe they can. But I don't really have a dog in the fight. I think it's just kind of whoever's making it happen. Like, I just want to see good basketball.
And that's been actually such a good thing about these playoffs is, I mean, not a good thing, but my team's not in the playoffs. So, and Steph's not in the playoffs. So it's been just nice to watch, like, pretty much stress-free basketball. Like, I'm invested because I'm a fan, but you know what I mean? It's just like very nice to just watch a game and not really worry about the outcome too much. Very nice.
Well, speaking of stress, the MLB continues. The Mets continue to be last in the division. I feel like all it is up and down. There's no consistency.
You guys went through a good. This breaking news. Hold on. Shams?
They took him out.
This is baseball. So Jeff Passan? Is
What's
that
the
you?
Equivalent?
Jeff Passan?
Yeah, I believe he's out for an illness.
Oh, an
He
illness.
was out of the
Okay.
lineup today. So
Yep. Well,
not
they
so much breaking news, just like semi.
yeah. No, I thought it was like like a
No,
bodily injury.
I did not have an exclusive on this. I think it's just, yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. We're winning some, we're losing more. I don't even know.
Interestingly, though, like the Mets just finished this spurt where they actually were winning games, and I know this
We
because
were.
they won a series against the Yankees, and
They
during that
did.
series they were talking about how the Mets have been playing a lot better, but
Yeah.
then you get swept this week by the Florida Marlins this weekend.
Yeah.
You
It's
get
not great.
walked off a walk off grand slam today by
It's not
guess
great.
who? Guess who, guys? He's back at
Mm.
it. Devin Williams, the guy that you guys wanted from the Yankees so badly. You didn't watch his games last year. You didn't watch his games last year if you were interested in signing him.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer. I do want it noted though that I did not contact you at all after the Mets did win that series against the Yankees. We had not talked about that. I did not message you about it. I did not
I
say
appreciate
anything.
that. No, I really do
Well,
appreciate
yeah.
that, especially given how the last game ended with the
Mm-hmm.
Yankees just completely blowing a ninth inning lead, just three
Yeah.
run home run. Yeah, that wasn't a good time. So I
No.
appreciate you giving me a reprieve. Those in the group chat were not as kind, but
Nope.
that's to be expected. To be expected. No surprises
Well,
there.
Ray, here's the bottom line. Sure, did we win that series? Yeah. Are we still at the bottom of our division? Yes. Like, what am I bragging about here? Like, we finally did our job, the
There
bare
are no
minimum of
moral
what we're meant
victories.
to
There
do?
are no moral
No.
victories. No.
So it just wasn't worth. It wasn't worth that. So I don't really know. I don't really know what we've got to do here. I still believe the season is a wash. I don't have any hope. just kind of it's just kind of over. I do hope we find a groove. I hope we find something. We are calling up some younger guys, so maybe that'll give more juice to the team, but I'm managing my expectations to the bar on the ground. And that's where it's going to stay for a little while. So,
It does seem like the
but
Mets are leaning in a little bit to the youth movement, which I can appreciate. You got some young
not mad about
players,
it.
Carson Bench, Ewing,
Mm-hmm.
which we know Arliss is excited about. So
Very.
yeah, Nolan McLean is still one of the best pitchers that you guys have. So you have like good pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and like so I'm pretty sure I think Freddie Peralta pitched against the Yankees, or I turned on a game and I saw him pitching, and it's just like he's like having a good season, and I haven't heard his name all year. Like I thought he
Yeah.
was hurt. I actually thought he was
Yeah.
hurt because I just haven't heard anything from him. But he's actually having a decent season for you guys. I'm just like, when you look at your roster, why are you guys so damn bad? I'm
I don't
actually like
know.
confused by what makes you guys
Well,
so bad. You have a terrible
yeah.
differential. You're minus 21 differential. I don't get it. I don't
Well, I
understand.
think we need to make some changes to our manager. I think that needs to
Yeah,
happen.
I feel like that ship has sailed because if they didn't do that and pull the
Yeah.
trigger on that when they were in the midst of a
No.
13-game losing streak, then I don't think that's
Yeah.
happening in
I think
mid-season
he's
this
staying
year.
the rest of the season. And to be quite
Yeah,
honest, I think he could come back next season. I don't think they believe that's as much of a problem as it is.
right.
But what's clear is that the team, for all of the talent that we have, the team is not gelling as well as it needs to. And I think that's a big problem. We spoke about that before with Soto, not speaking to any of his teammates that this is a
That was
culture
weird.
problem within the
Yep,
organization.
that was
And
weird.
I
Yeah.
think, that's still happening. It doesn't feel like there are any veterans that are really like trying to bring the team together. Like, who I haven't heard about like all season is Lindor.
Well, he's been hurt
Like,
for quite some time now, and then when
I
he was
know,
on the
but
field, he was playing terribly.
yeah, but I'm just like,
So
I feel like you're nowhere and you're a veteran. You should be encouraging the guys. You should be, I don't know. It feels very like there's just no team unity. And I think that
yeah,
mixed with coaching issues, that creates the perfect storm for that. So, do I think we have player personnel to be able to win games? Yes, I do. It's just not being utilized effectively. And I don't know if we're going to get that back. I hope we get something back. Like I'd like to at least get us into a a decent groove for the season where it doesn't feel as much of a roller coaster. But I don't see that happening right now with the current culture of the team.
Now, there are too many inconsistencies going on with that team right now. Either the pitching is bad, and the hitting picks it up, or the hitting is bad and the pitching starts to take a nosedive. Today, you got Devin Williams again not blowing a ninth inning lead because the game was tied, at least when the highlight that I looked at when the grand slam was hit, the game was tied. So, but still, you bring in Devin Williams and it looked like he had the bases loaded, nobody out. And it's just, when I tell you, that just PTSD for me instantly as a Yankee fan. I have to go back to last year, how many situations that we had like that with Devin Williams. I'm just like, thank God that is not our problem anymore. But
thank God he's gone.
We got new problems because our closer that we decided to invest in David Bednar, has been very shaky himself. So it just seems like the Yankees can't get it right when it comes to landing a closer. Like, they brought in Devin Williams from Milwaukee last year. Terrible. Traded at the trade deadline for Camilo Doval from the Giants and David Bednar from the Pirates. They looked like great pickups at the time. Doval just hasn't really got it done since he's been in pinstripes. And then Bednar, he's just been very up and down as our closer, which I don't like that feeling. So, I mean, the Yankees are looking pretty good at the moment. I don't know. They've kind of been up and down too. They've had these spurts of like losing 4 or 5 in a row, but then also they went on like an 8 or 9 game winning streak at one point. Just very much, I mean, still sitting second in their division. You know what? Today we actually beat the Rays. Judge hit a walk-off home run today, and that was our first win against a team over 500 this year. First win. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yes.
Like, I think we were 0-7 going into today against teams that were above 500. So, I mean, like, if you think about it, we played over 50 games, right? So the fact that we've only had 7 or 8 games against teams that are above 500 is kind of crazy. It shows you just how bad like teams have been in baseball this year, especially in the American League. But the team that we beat today, the Rays, I think that goes a long way to instilling some confidence in us. Especially because like we lost Friday a game and we had a rain out yesterday. So this was supposed to be a 3-game set, but we got rained out yesterday. So
yeah, no, that
Friday
really screwed me over in fantasy.
Yeah. Friday we actually had a great game. Again, bullpen couldn't get it done late innings. But today it was a 0-0 game going into the 9th and Judgy was able to walk it off. So we definitely needed that win against a Tampa Bay Ray team that has been the best team, I think, in baseball over the last 2 months. It was definitely needed that we got that win against them today, just to build some confidence and to show us like, kind of the frustrating narrative for me is that like, oh, the Yankees can't beat good teams. But like the stat I just said, we've played 40 plus games against bad teams and only a handful of games against good teams. Now, we shouldn't have been 0-7 against those teams, but some of those games were, you know, we gave up leads or they were close games. So glad that we got the win today, because we can beat good teams. So we'll just hopefully use that as some momentum going forward. But really, the Yankees' issues have persisted, right? So the same issues that they had the beginning of the year, kind of the same issues that they have now. And one of their biggest issues is at catcher, Ryan. Like both of the catchers that we have, Austin Wells and then his backup, JC Escar, they're not good. They're not good. I was looking at their like catcher rankings for the Yankees in comparison to the rest of the league and like where their catchers lie. Average wise, they're second to worst in the league. The only other team worse that has a worse catcher average than them, ironically, is the Seattle Mariners, who have Kyle Raleigh, who was finished second in MVP voting to Judge last year and has done nothing this year. He's actually on the injured list. He was my number 1 pick in fantasy, Ryan. My number 1 pick in fantasy. And he's just played like shit and now he's hurt. So kind of wasted a pick on that. But yeah, everywhere you look as far as their offensive rankings is bottom third of the league. Home runs, OPS, RBIs. They just haven't been good. And when you have a spot come up in the lineup that, I mean, they're hitting 165 combined, our 2 catchers. So, I mean, that's pretty much an automatic out every time they come up to bat. You can't have that in the lineup. Then you have Ryan McMahon, our third baseman. I believe Friday he broke a 0 for 24 skid, 24 at bats in a row. You don't get a hit. And this has been par for the course for Ryan McMahon the entire season. So third baseman, catcher, the Yankees have to figure out something there. You cannot have that lack of production coming out of two spots where you need something more. And especially when you remember earlier in the season, the Yankees were struggling bad. And I said Judge was also struggling at that same time, and it reflected on the entire lineup. Same thing. I think Judge ended an 0 for 15 skid himself today, actually. So he was 0 for 15 going into today, and he actually got 2 hits. But again, when Judge struggles, you can see that permeate throughout the lineup. And our offense has been pretty much non-existent. Again, today going into the 9th inning, the game was 0-0. We have just struggled badly scoring runs. So kind of the frustrating thing for me is just seeing this team, so we're the run it back Yankees, right? We had this pretty much the same exact lineup as last year, but I'm seeing the same struggles as last year. We strike out too much. We strike out too much. And then we play teams like the Rays that we played today. And I'm looking at these teams that just make contact all the time. They're always putting the ball in play, whether it's in the infield, getting into the outfield. And sometimes those balls drop. And then I see the Yankees who do the opposite, just strike out all the time. It worries me come postseason time. Because in the regular season, we're fine. We're good enough to be a top 2 team in the division.
Yeah.
But you get in the postseason, pitching gets better. Right? The pitching just gets better. That's just the nature of what the postseason is. And strikeouts go up in the postseason because the pitching that you see is better. So I get worried about that. I know the trade deadline still has time to get here. The Yankees just got their first start from Garrett Cole, who came back from Tommy John surgery on Friday. He actually pitched great against the Rays. Six innings, no runs. That was a great boost for them. But yeah, I think we need to definitely make some moves at the trade deadline because bullpen, third base, catcher, these all raising some concerns for me for sure.
Yeah. I can tell you what the biggest surprise to me in watching baseball and looking at the standings is the White Sox are second in the Central Division.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. They were
now we'll give that the context it deserves.
For sure.
Because the Central is not. Let's not get carried away here. They're 26 and 26, division. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
But kudos to them because the White Sox have been trash for years.
So look at them kind of coming alive. But
it's fun to see. It's fun to watch.
I'm gonna say this: anybody but the Dodgers. I don't even care who it is at this point. Really don't.
And I've been kind of underwhelmed by the Dodgers season thus far, to be honest. They're starting to get it together now. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They are sitting atop the NL West. They're a game and a half over the Padres right now, and they're 13 games above 500. So it looks like they're settling into what we kind of thought. They have also battled a lot of injuries, but they've also had guys step up in places where you wouldn't expect. But we expect the Dodgers to be there at the end. It's really, who do we see that can give them the biggest challenge? And sadly for the Mets, it's a team from their division, and the Braves. The Braves look really, really, really good this year.
I really don't like it. But you know what? I don't like Atlanta, but Atlanta has proven time and time again that Atlanta cannot handle pressure. So,
well, I mean, they won a World Series and they won a World Series in 2021. So that's not not forever ago.
Yeah, but I just have a feeling they'll go the same way as the Falcons and the
it's just like all Atlanta teams for you. Okay, I got it.
All Atlanta teams.
I got you now.
I think they'll just fall. No, I think I feel comfortable saying this, that I think collectively in the city of Atlanta, the Braves have won the most championships.
I feel like you can comfortably say that. Yes, I would say that. They had a lot of dominant teams in the 90s battling with the Yankees before the Yankees went on their run. So, I mean, I could see it.
Is that Chipper Jones? And
That's right. Tom Glavine. Yep.
Yeah.
These were names.
Who's that really ugly-ass pitcher? Randy
Johnson.
Did he play for the Braves?
No.
He did not. Okay.
Diamondbacks, Mariners, Yankees for a bit. Yeah, not the Braves.
Uglier the pitcher, the better they pitch. I don't know what it is, but I think there's a correlation there.
That seems to be the consensus among athletes, I think. Like, the uglier the athlete, they're just...
That's not always true. But I think for pitchers, for sure. I think we need a study on that, because that I would like to know. I don't think that's the same for all athletes, though. Definitely for pitchers. I think that's... Sometimes a relief pitcher will come in, and I might not know who they are, but I'm like, oh, you got a mug that only a mother could love, and you're going to win this game.
Being a pitcher is a nice gig, because if you look at some of these pitchers, they're like the least in shape of anybody on their team. So it's like, You get paid millions.
You know
Like,
what?
look at my guy. Like, no shade, CC Sabathia, like Yankee Hall of Famer, got him a championship in 2009. But like, no one would ever accuse CC of being a slim guy. Like, he's a big dude,
But he
but
can throw
but
like a
he
monster. Like,
exactly he
that's
got
the
away with
thing.
it. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, kudos.
Hey.
Listen, no shade to those pitchers.
No shade
I
at
applaud
all.
you.
Ugly and fat. Get
Applaud
it done. Get it done.
Do it. Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the NFL, not tons of news, but Stafford extended his contract by 1 year for $55
I was shocked
million.
by that.
I'm not.
I was shocked by that, to be honest.
What were you shocked at? The amount of money he got?
Both. The fact that he was extended an extra year and the dollar amount, very surprising. But like, I think a lot of people looked at that team and just on paper, that team could make the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people's assumption was like Stafford is going to go on one last run and this will be his last hurrah. And I think like this conversation I think was supposed to come about more so at the end of the season where like, is he going to come back or is he not? And maybe he just wanted to get out in front of it and is like, listen, I got enough in the tank to play another year. So let's just, before the offseason hits, so I don't even want to hit that conversation. I'm playing for another year, which I respect.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of it. I got no problem with Matthew Stafford. This is not like, so for instance, we'll get into the Aaron Rodgers of it all, but like if he had said, I'm playing another year, like the consensus would not have been the same.
No,
like league wide as with Matthew Stafford. So
still
like,
not even now. But I mean, I think, listen, he comes back this year. He plays through 2027. That gives him a good couple years to get this new QB that they've got, his knowledge under the wing, all of that stuff. I think this is really setting the Rams up for a good run the next 2 years. We'll have to see what happens with it. That division is, it's fairly competitive. So, I mean, I think that they will, I think it's really going to be between them and Seattle. I mean, 49ers, you can't ever really count them out, but like, they really struggle. Somehow they always make it, but like, it is not easy for them to.
They always are dealing with injuries.
Yeah,
I always just expect them to be injured come playoff time, if I'm being honest.
I always expect you to not be well by the time playoffs come along. Somehow you still end up doing things. They do it every year.
But I don't know. They somehow sneak their way into the playoff scene and just like are injured. So
I think that's coaching. I think a lot of that's coaching. I think like that's an example of a staff where like they do have good player personnel. You can't take that away from them. It isn't that they have nobody.
Oh, they built a good team. Absolutely.
What they're able to do when they are injured, how they're able to motivate players to step up to do all this stuff. I think it just speaks to good coaching. And I'm not a big Shanahan fan, but like, cause like nepotism, strong, but yeah, you really never, I think people always think of Nepo babies as like Hollywood. Oh,
no.
Sports wise.
Sports, it happens all the time.
I think it's even more pervasive.
Yeah,
for sure.
Remember Draymond and Austin Rivers were getting into a thing a couple weeks ago because like Draymond essentially insinuated the same thing. You wouldn't be in the league if your dad wasn't Doc Rivers. So like nepotism happens in the league all the time. Bronny, need I say more?
I think that's like one of the prime examples of, but I think in football, it isn't necessarily, I mean, you do have fathers who play and then sons who play, like, I think of like Frank Gore Jr., who's somewhere in the league right now, not really as obviously as important as his dad was, but I think in coaching, you see it a lot. You see siblings that coach, you see, fathers and sons, like it is a very, nepotism is very, very strong in sports.
Jalen Brunson's father is on the coaching staff of the Knicks, Rick Brunson. You see it all the time.
I just think one of my favorite clips, though, that I recently saw that came across my feed was, I don't know what player it was, but it was somebody that went up to LeBron and was like, hey, you used to play with my dad. And LeBron's like,
I remember that. I think that was from last season.
Correctly right now. He's like,
I remember that. Yep.
And I don't think it like threw LeBron off completely, but it was definitely one of those moments where LeBron was like, wait a minute, what?
It's crazy to think about, but yeah. Well, he created his own teammate, so there's that.
He did. That's so weird.
They create a player.
I mean, listen, that's a very like sentimental, like it's very impressive to watch. Like I don't think you could like not, the first time they were on the court together, that is a history making move.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But, Ronnie's, I mean, I don't, if Bronny isn't LeBron's son, you're G League and playing in Europe. I don't believe you're.
Let's be real. Like,
yeah, you're not.
Sorry.
You're not hitting
Sorry.
the NBA court, and it's just a fact. Just a fact. Outside of Matthew Stafford's extension, the Giants GM Joe Sheen also got extended for a multi-year contract. I don't understand this move. I don't get it.
How does he keep getting away with this?
I don't know. Well,
how does he keep getting away with this, dog?
I'm going to say that I feel like they've drafted fairly well. I think he's done well in that aspect. The Saquon Barkley of it all is still
the elephant in the room.
Still the elephant in the room. And like Dexter Lawrence, I think, is another problem that I think, him leaving was also an issue, but I don't know. I mean, listen, I think if you're Joe Sheen, the only thing you could do is just pray that the draft picks that you picked stay healthy. So, yeah, you're going to get Malik Neighbors back, Cam Scadaboo's, somewhere, but you got to keep Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo in check. They cannot be running an absolute muck.
Well, I think having Malik Neighbors back will do them some favors.
I hope so.
Hopefully that O-line can hold it down so that Jackson Dart is not getting hit as much. And then, again, this all kind of started with the hiring of Harbaugh, right? So I think just with that piece alone, there was instantly a culture shift in the way that the Giants want, I think, the public to view that organization. So it was definitely it's a good hire by them, and I think I don't know if this is a reward for Joe Sheen for signing, doing what he did, and he has drafted well. I'll give them some credit for the talent that we've seen come out of the draft the last few years, but I'm not sold on him. And
no, I'm not either.
The complete culture change we really have to see what this team looks like this season coming up. But kudos to him. I mean, he's secured in his job for the next few years, so we'll see how that translates on the field.
We'll see. And Aaron Rodgers announced his last season in the NFL, and nobody cares.
No, I'm off the Aaron Rodgers train. I have been for a few years now.
I mean, I think everybody is. I'll be interested to see him and McCarthy back together again, because the last couple of years in Green Bay were not great. So, I mean, they were still winning, but it wasn't the same. So I'm interested to see if they come back and can make something happen. That division, in my opinion, is a wide open division. Anybody can kind of take it. Nobody's overly that impressive. So we'll have to see. But I'm glad he said it now. Me
too. I don't want this entire season to be dominated once more by will Aaron Rodgers return next season? How many years does he have left? What are the Steelers going to look like post Aaron Rodgers? Like, I'm glad we can just start figuring that out now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. And they should start figuring it out now because he could go down in the first game like he did a few years ago.
It's been all downhill since then.
Yeah. But that's going to wrap it up for the NFL. But I do want to just take a moment and do a quick shout out to Mina Kimes, who said what I've been saying for a very long time, which is that she does not understand the hate that Jordan Love gets. And thank you, because he shouldn't be getting as much hate as he's getting. He's a great quarterback, and he's going to have a great season.
Yeah,
he keeps getting better every season.
He had a great season last season, so I expect more of the same from him. One of the highest QBRs in the league last year, so I don't see the Packers taking a step back. Like you said, he's improved every year that he's been the starting quarterback for that team. So I just expect for that to continue. To be honest,
that made me really happy when she said that. I was like, "Thank you."
It's always nice to have people standing up. Yeah, hell yeah.
I feel like just not enough people put enough respect in his name, and I get it. He hasn't won enough playoff games. Like, I get all the criticism. I'm not like immune to that. I've had criticisms myself, but just felt nice to feel like I had some validation there, Ray. That I had another person on my side for it.
I actually like Mina Kimes. I think she covers the NFL very well.
Yeah, she's great. She's one of my favorites. So, all right. We haven't done this segment in a while, but we're bringing it back. Trash cans. One person's rant about what's bothering them the most in sports. And Ray has a great trash cans for us today. Take it away.
So, as most of you know, I am a Brooklyn Nets fan. have been since they were the New Jersey Nets, and they made a couple finals appearances back in the early 2000s. And let's just be real, Ryan, it's been a tough road since then. Been a very, very tough road. The Nets have had their chances, right? They've had their chances where it looked like maybe they were turning things around. And one of those first moments was actually when they brought the franchise to Brooklyn. Jay-Z bought the team, right? They went from the New Jersey Nets, came over to Brooklyn, right? So it was a perfect scenario for me, right? Grew up in Brooklyn, entire life, was a New Jersey Nets fan, and it was just like how perfect that this team that I've been a fan of my whole life is coming to my borough. Like coming to play in my borough where I live, the borough that I claim. Everything was on track. Jay-Z, yeah, let's do it. One of the first things that the Nets decided to do when they brought that team to Brooklyn was they traded for some players that you actually might be familiar with, Ryan. So they went and they decided to get an aging Kevin Garnett and an aging Paul Pierce from the Boston Celtics. I believe that was in 2014. Ryan, do you know what they traded away in order to get those players? Let's see.
Something they probably shouldn't have.
So it's not something that immediately, they realized was a mistake when they did the trade, but the trade did involve some picks. Okay. These trades did involve picks, and a few of those were first round picks. Okay. One of those picks was a 2017 first round pick. Okay. The Nets ended with one of the worst records that year. I believe they actually had the worst record in the league that year. So there was a high chance that they would have got the number 1 pick in the draft that year. So the Celtics decided that they were going to keep that pick, naturally so, because it was a lottery pick. And you know what? The Celtics actually had the number 1 pick that year, and they traded down. Did you know that? They traded down. They gave Philly the number 1 pick, which, if we're realizing how this all started, this was the Nets pick. So they decided to give Philly the number 1 pick. Philly ends up drafting Markelle Fultz. Okay. Markelle Fultz is no longer in the league, so I'm not upset about that. However, Boston traded down to number 3. And do you know who they decided to draft number 3 in the 2017 NBA draft, Ryan? That pick turned into none other than Jason Tatum. Jason
Love
Tatum. And the year before that, right, 2016, there was another first round pick that the Celtics actually got from the Brooklyn Nets in that Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce trade as well. That player ended up being Jaylen Brown. So you got 2 consecutive years where the Nets had first round picks and Boston had control of these picks, and they drafted the superstar tandem that we now know as NBA Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, one of the 5 best players in the league when he's healthy. But it gets worse, Ryan. So before this all started, in 2012, the Nets also had a first round pick that they decided to trade away to the Portland Trailblazers. Can you guess who Portland decided to use to draft that first round pick with in 2012? That pick ended up being it ended up being Damian Lillard. Generational talent Damian Lillard. That was originally a Brooklyn Nets pick, Ryan. So you see, it's just been doom and gloom for the Nets for a long time. When they have first round picks, they draft terribly. When they've given their picks away to other teams and they've ended up being first round picks, they either turn out to be NBA superstars or pretty damn good role players. There's another trade here that involves another pick, Ryan. So in 2019, the Nets decided to trade away Allen Crabbe as a salary dump and a pick to Atlanta. One of those picks turns out to be Nickeil Alexander-Walker. When's the last time we heard Nickeil Alexander-Walker's name, Ryan? Oh, it was just last round. Last round when the Knicks played the Hawks. The first round. Do you know what award Nickeil Alexander just ended up winning this year, Ryan? The Most Improved Player Award. This is SGA's cousin, by the way. So that was yet another pick that the Nets gave away. So the overall pattern that I'm trying to get here is the Nets either have very, very very bad luck when it comes to drafting players, or they just have terrible management. Or maybe these things are not mutually exclusive, Ryan, and it's both.
Yeah.
This all culminates in the last 2 years. So last year, the Nets had a terrible record, yet again, one of the worst teams in the league. They were rewarded with this bad record by getting the 8th pick in the draft. The 8th. Not a top 5 lottery pick, not a top 1, 2, or 3 pick, but the 8th pick in the draft. And they decided to draft Yegor Dioman. Does that name ring a bell to you, Ryan? No, it
No.
doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't ring a bell with anybody outside of the Brooklyn Net fandom. And this year, a year in which I had to once again watch the Nets be a bottom 3 team in the league, they were rewarded this year by, and a year, by the way, in which there is significant talent coming out of that draft, but none better than pretty much assumed number 1 pick, AJ Devonta, a forward at BYU, considered to be a franchise changing player who probably going to be the number 1 pick. And I thought, yes, this is the year. This is the year that the Nets' fortunes finally fall back into their own hands. They'll get a top 3 pick at worst. And with all the talent coming out of this draft, there's no way they can miss. It's impossible. They got the 6th pick in this year's draft. So, when we are bad, we're terrible. When we are bad, we're not rewarded with draft picks. And hopefully I'm hoping that kind of changes with the rules around tanking being a little bit different now, so that a lot of these teams that have been bad for a long time, that have been rewarded with a lot of these top picks for consecutive years. I'm hoping that the pendulum swings back in the Nets' favor there. But I've been a Nets fan since 2001, Ryan. It's been 25 long, arduous years. Outside of Kevin Durant coming to Brooklyn and Kyrie Irving coming to Brooklyn and giving me something to cheer about just for about maybe 2 seasons, about good 2 seasons, until Kevin Durant's foot was too big on the line, and I could revisit that story a bunch. But outside of those 2 years, it has just not been a fun time for me. So when people ask me why I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan over a Knicks fan, is because I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. Okay. I'm not going to jump on the Knicks. I'm not going to jump on the Knicks bandwagon. I'm going to ride to the ground where the Nets have not left in quite some time, but I'm going to ride. I'm going to ride with them, even though we cannot make picks. We cannot draft. We really can't get out of our own way when it comes to anything involved in the NBA draft, but that's okay, because I'm here for the long haul, even though we are absolute trash cans.
You guys are really bad.
Historically bad.
So bad. I do remember the other day where I said to you, because I think I was giving you some Yankee hate. And then I thought about it and I said, you know what? I'm not going to hate on this anymore for you, because you also root for the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Browns. What chance do you have? What chance do you have?
It's rough out here. So this narrative that right, there was this narrative when the Warriors were successful, when I was first getting into football and I liked Patrick Mahomes and what the Chiefs were doing, this narrative that has followed me around strictly in our group chat. Okay. Strictly in our group chat, that I'm a bandwagon fan and that I only like teams that are successful is utter nonsense. I am a Brooklyn Nets fan and I have been for a long time. I don't know what success feels like. I'm a Yankees fan. I've been a Yankees fan my whole life. I started watching baseball in 2004. The Yankees have won 1 championship in 2009 since I've been a fan of them. They've made 2 World Series since I've been watching the team. So this delusion that all I know is success with my teams that I follow is absolutely false. The Yankees do have a history of winning lots of championships, but I haven't been involved in that history.
I think sometimes what makes it hard is when you are a fan of a team that's perceived as good. You do have, because I feel this as a Packer fan. Okay. My team is always good.
Right.
We've had since I've
Yankees
been
are never bad.
Yeah. So you always have a decent team, but the decency in that team does not always equate to championships.
Nope,
And I think people
exactly.
forget that.
Yes.
It's very difficult, I think, for people to, have the concept of like, yeah, you're a Packer fan. And I'm like, yeah, and we do pretty well, but we're not closing the way. And so then you have this conversation about how like, oh, do we get rid of Matt LaFleur? Even though Matt LaFleur he has a winning record. There's no failure on that part.
Aaron Boone. It's the same thing with the Yankees. It's the same thing. And sometimes, listen, I understand that like you need a change in culture, even if the coach or manager has a long history of success with the team. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's not easy. And the Yankees do win every year. The stat that I saw the other day has been like 30 years since they finished under 500, right?
Yeah.
So the Yankees only know a certain level of success. But when we like talk about reaching the mountaintop, very little of my fandom has seen that. And the last time I saw it has been a long time. And you know what? With the way that the Brooklyn Nets look, Ryan, in the foreseeable future, I don't see it in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't. I really don't. We don't even have a foundation on which to start on. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot of cap room, but if you eliminate Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, when's the last time somebody said, I want to go play in Brooklyn? You know what I'm saying? So, like, cap room only takes you so far. You actually have to want players that want to come there. And when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving came in 2019, the landscape was completely different. The New York landscape was completely different. The Knicks were a joke. They were a laughingstock. People asked Kevin Durant constantly, why would you choose Brooklyn over the Knicks? And he's like, do you see what the Knicks look like?
But now, the Knicks?
As we sit here in 2026, that narrative is dead. The Knicks are a win away from reaching the NBA Finals. Jalen Brunson is sitting damn near on a throne in New York City right now. Like, why wouldn't you want to go play for the Knicks? Why would you ever want to come and play for Brooklyn? As we stand right here, right now, in May of 2026, I see no bright future ahead.
What do you think is their biggest obstacle? Like, is it like when you talk about draft pick, when you talk about that process, which is very much a front office process, that is that's an organizational. Do you think like, does the team need to be sold to somebody else? I'm assuming they've replaced the GM a few times since you've been a fan. Like, what do you think the fix is for at least that problem?
You have to draft better. When you look at the teams that have become successful over the last several years, Ryan, it's being all built through the draft now, right? I'm going to kind of take the Spurs out of the equation because like they had Wemby, right? Like if you have 100 picks, you're picking Wemby first 100 times out of 100, right? So that we're not surprised by the success of Wemby and by the Spurs. But if you dig a little bit deeper, like you have players on the Spurs like Stephon Castle, right? Keldon Johnson, who just won Sixth Man of the Year. You go over to OKC. Sure, they traded for SGA, but they also drafted Chet Holmgren. They also drafted Jalen Williams. They also drafted a lot of these like young players that we're looking at. We're like, damn, like these are good. You go over to Detroit. They drafted Cade Cunningham, first overall pick.
Yeah.
Like the Hawks, right? A team that we didn't even expect to be in the playoffs. They drafted Jalen Johnson. A lot of these teams that are up and coming and like have found success the last few years, they have done well through the draft. We haven't seen a lot of these trades for like superstars work out, right? Look how much Kevin Durant has bounced around the last few years. Between Brooklyn, between Phoenix, between Houston, he has found no success. The Lakers acquired Luka Doncic, right? Huge trade, huge superstar. That hasn't really panned out and shown to be successful yet. Like the teams that have been successful recently have done so by drafting good talent. And I think we can look at OKC as like the best example of that because it wasn't one superstar player that they drafted in order to look how they look now. They win games without SGA too, people. Okay?
Mhm.
SGA missed games this year, and OKC continued to not win games at the same rate, but also still put up wins. They have a deep team. So when I'm looking at my team and
Mhm.
Brooklyn, like we need to be able to draft better. And sure, last year the eighth pick, like you want to draft higher, but that's still a top 10 pick. You should still be able to land some impact talent there. This year
Mhm.
we have a number 6 pick. Like it's not going to be a top 5 pick, but number 6 is like pretty high still. Like you need
Mhm.
to be able to land on these players when you
Mhm.
have these picks. You can't
Yeah.
continue to waste first round picks. You have a lot of first round picks. Listen, they got about 5 first round picks in that trade with New York when they sent over Mikal Bridges to New York, right?
Mhm.
You cannot miss on those picks. Sure, you can try to like bring over talent or try to recruit talent to come over free agency. But again, the
Mhm.
Knicks are the better draw right now. Like nobody
Mhm.
wants to play in Brooklyn. So I think you need better people scouting
Mhm.
and getting these drafts in order. And then you know what? I don't dislike our GM, but I think that maybe there might just be a need for some change because like over the last few years, the team hasn't looked different. To be honest, since they lost
Mhm.
Kevin Durant, they've just been a bad team in the years that have followed. And you got to start somewhere, but at what point are we going to start?
Mm. And that's trash cans.
My team is
You're the
trash cans,
Brooklyn
people.
Nets. So sorry.
I ain't going nowhere though. We still here.
Ride or die.
Absolutely.
All right, that's going to do it for us here at the Rundown. We'll see you guys next week.
Oh, holla.